Hey guys, thanks for joining us here at Salty Ginger Talk. Returning listeners, it's great to have you back. If you're new to the channel, really glad you joined us. Hope you like what you hear. So, our guest today is a guy named Corey Dissin. Corey is a great guy. He's got a coaching business, he's written a book, he's spent tons of time in the production and entertainment industry. He is a go getter, he is aggressive, he is confident, and he coaches other people on how to be those things and build systems and processes in their world that will help them get to where they want to be. Just a great guy all around. We're really excited to have him on the show. So let's bring Corey on right now. So Corey, welcome to Salty Ginger Talk. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Joe, my man, good to see you. See, we have the same barber. That's good.
Exactly right. Yeah, look, we had a great conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I've really been looking forward to this. We have a wide variety of people on the podcast. They take different approaches to building a successful life. I think you and me take very similar approaches to how we've built a successful life. And look, there's no right or wrong answer. I know what I do. I know what works for me. But today we're going to hear from you about how you've built the life that you're currently enjoying right now. And I know it didn't follow a straight path. I know it wasn't always easy. I know you learned a lot from things that didn't go the way you wanted them to. And that's the entire point of our podcast is we exist entirely to encourage people to live a life of purpose and meaning. They have to decide what that purpose and meaning is for them. Our only two caveats are they should choose it. It shouldn't be what society tells them. It shouldn't be what the people around them tell them. It should be what matters to them, and they should get after it. If you're going to be a plumber or a ballerina or a teacher or a lawyer, you should be the best, whatever that is that you can possibly be, because you owe that to yourself. And so that's the whole point. The way we do that is by talking to folks like you and having you share your story and the lessons you've learned that have helped you get to where you are. So with that, I turn it over to you to tell us about yourself and your life.
Well, let's strap in and hang on. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I mean, where do I begin? I mean, I've been in the broadcast production industry for over 3 decades, and yeah, I mean, I've been coaching since 2018. But I got my chops in the broadcast production world, and was very fortunate to start my career at age 19 working in a top five market, Philadelphia, for one of the biggest um, entertainment and broadcasting companies around. They're no longer around. They were called Infinity Broadcasting at the time, purchased by CBS, etc. But Infinity owned stations all over the country. I was at one of their hubs in Philadelphia, and we did work for little entities like the Howard Stern Show. Uh, and like I said, I had that opportunity to work for the voice of that show, a guy by the name of Paul Turner, who became my friend, my mentor, and kind of kicked me in the butt and said, "Hey, this is something that you can do." And he taught me the production business. I was producing, commercials and whatnot for all of his clients. And he had this little vanity production business, which was Paul Turner Productions, which was basically him. And he kind of passed me the keys and said, "Hey, see what you can do with this sucker." And we grew the business. We opened up our own building. We moved out of the radio station. We moved into our own building. We hired staff. He sold the business in 2003. I stayed with the business, and by the time I left, 5,000 square foot complex, 8 production bays, 600 to 700 spots a month, and I got a lot of experience, not just on the creative side, but on the business side of how to build and market businesses. And that's kind of was the catalyst for my coaching business to teach entrepreneurs and solopreneurs to do the same. I mean, that's the easiest way I can kind of boil that down. I'm sure we can dive into certain pieces of that.
For sure. That's exactly what we do. And I appreciate that's what we always ask guests to do, just a broad overview. And then we kind of start at the beginning and work our way forward and talk a lot deeper about the inflection points. And it turns out, no surprise to you, I'm sure, that most of the inflection points are things that didn't go the way you thought they were going to go. And that's what we try to coach and teach people ourselves. And for what it's worth, like I don't have a coaching business. I'm not selling a book. I advocate. So here's my shameless plug for coaching. And this is the way I explain it to anyone because a lot of people turn up their nose or scoff or, oh, I'm not paying someone X thousands of dollars a month to give me rah rah bullshit. Okay, great. Let me just say that Tom Brady is widely regarded as the best quarterback to ever play football, organized football at the NFL level at every stage of his career. And I mean, from his rookie year to the time he retired, he had a head coach, he had an offensive coordinator, he had a defensive line coach or offensive line coach, he had a wide receivers coach, he had a running backs coach, he had a tight ends coach, he had all the other people in the organization that were helping him get better at what he does. So, if you're going to tell me you're better at what you do than Tom Brady was at being an NFL quarterback, okay, cool. Good for you. And I am very happy for you because
One of
you
one.
are killing it. Yeah, you are killing it. If you're not, maybe it's worth having a conversation with someone who can help you rise above all of the day-to-day struggles and challenges that you're facing, bring some order to that chaos and help you kind of get to where you want to be. That's what coaches do. It never hurts to have a conversation with people. And so I'm a huge advocate of the coaching. I personally don't do it. I'm still the CEO of a company that owns and operates grocery store. So I got a full-time gig. I do the podcast because I'm very passionate about it. I get to meet awesome people like you. And I feel like I have a responsibility to give back to society that's given me a ton of stuff as a human being, right? So I'm 53 and I think I'm at the stage of life where I can help a lot of people if they're willing to listen to a grumpy old man tell them what he's learned.
Well, they got two grumpy old men today, so they're in luck.
So going back to when you were 19, how did you wind up in broadcasting? Was that like, were you passionate about it? Did you know that you wanted to, what you wanted to do, or how did it start?
Well, I mean, so my media career actually predates that. And I mentioned this in the book, but when I was in high school, my best friend at the time, his father worked in community television in suburban Atlanta.
Hmm.
And I always knew that he did that, but I didn't know what he did. I just knew it was my friend's dad, whatever. And one day at lunch, the kid says to me, "Hey, why don't you sleep over and you'll go help out on this video shoot the next day?" And I was like, I'm 14 years old. I'm thinking, all right, video shoot, lights, camera, action, sign me up. That sounds pretty sexy. Let's do it, right? So I go to the shoot, and yes, I see cameras, I see lights. But what I saw was white bread and bologna. I got to make bologna sandwiches for the crew. That was my indoctrination into the media industry. But it did give me, it sort of lit the fuse a little bit like, hey, this is kind of interesting. And then from there, I was like, okay, I wanted to be like on air. That was my thing. I wanted to be Howard. I wanted to be on I made little cassette tape, little shows in high school. Every project I did in high school had something to do with radio. I was just fascinated by the whole thing. And that sleepover turned into, hey, come volunteer at the station and so I started to learn how to hang a light, how to do floor direction, how to run a camera, how to run the video tape machines at the time we were using, or how to run a switcher. And then by the time I was 15, I was directing my own show once a week.
Wow.
I was the director. I was directing people who were older than my father, calling shots, setting up camera shots, dealing with the host, the guest, and you'll appreciate this. It was a sports talk show,
Yeah.
and it was hosted by a sort of a local media personality. And this was on local cable access, but we were interviewing people from, because I was in Atlanta, we were interviewing people from the Braves and the Hawks and the Falcons, or ex-athletes that lived in the Atlanta area. Like we interviewed Walt Frazier, played for the Knicks.
Kidding me. Yeah.
Hey, get this, it gets better. That's just one little name I'm dropping. At the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, we interviewed at the time was some rookie who they threw in from the Detroit Tigers in a trade. Turns out it was Hall of Famer John Smoltz.
I
I
was just
didn't
gonna
know that
say
at the time.
that's the Doyle Alexander trade, who, by
Yeah,
the way,
exactly.
went 10 and 0 for the Tigers and helped them win the pennant that year.
That was a great trade for both sides.
Yes, it was.
Obviously, the long-term benefit for the Braves was huge, but we interviewed him as a rookie. We interviewed Pete Rose.
Oh,
Here I am, 15 years old. I couldn't even drive to the shoot. And I'm running a shoulder mount camera, interviewing. And what you don't know is I wore 14 all through my high school career. I love Pete Rose. I was not the best athlete, but I played my game like him because I hustled and did all Charlie Hustle. That was me. And here I am, literally shaking in my boots, interviewing Pete Rose, and he put his hand on my shoulder, this one right here. And he said, "Calm down, kid. You're good." And I was like, I mean, I heard the noise from the beginning of The Simpsons, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Oh, when he said that, I couldn't. So we interviewed Doc Rivers when he was a guard with the Hawks
Yeah,
before he was a coach. So I'm a kid and I'm getting this real world experience directing television shows at a very young age. I did that throughout high school, and that took me to Temple University. Uh, Really outstanding media and communications program there. I was going to go there anyway. It was kind of preordained. My mother went there, my brother went there, my cousins went there. You're going to Temple. So, but in Philly, at Temple, I got a chance to meet this guy Paul Turner, who I had mentioned, and that kind of just skyrocketed my whole career. So I had the bug, but I'll add this: before I started working with Paul, I interned at that radio station, WYSP Radio, a classic rock station. And 2 weeks into my internship, the entire air staff was fired because of ratings or whatever. They did a format change, something. And I said to myself, I got a bad habit. I like to eat 3 times a day. I'm a big fan of stability. And I did not want to be fired with a snap of the fingers like that. So I said, okay, if I don't want to take that risk and be on air, what was the next best thing? And that was production, which
yeah.
that's what pointed me to Paul, and the rest is history.
Love that. So just a couple of comments. First, true story. Corey and I did not plan this in any way, shape, or form. I grew up, and I've talked about this in the podcast, from the time I was 3 to the time I married my wife, I was going to be a professional baseball player. Like, I knew what I wanted to do immediately. I was so into it. My dad taught me to bat left-handed at 3 years old, even though I'm right-handed, so I didn't have to face as many curveballs growing up. Like, literally, that was all I did. I had exactly one autograph and one picture of a baseball player in my bedroom. It was Pete Rose. I wrote a letter to Riverfront Stadium. I lived in Portland, Oregon, and I wrote a letter to Riverfront Stadium and I said, I love Pete Rose because he works so hard. He plays the game the way I like to play it. He sent me back. It was an autographed picture of him diving headfirst, the headfirst slide into third base in his original tenure with the Reds. Only picture I had. So
Amazing.
autographed by Pete Rose. Love that guy.
And it just gets better and better. I mean, you can kind of see in the frame, see those pictures on that wall right there?
Yeah,
Okay, those are my high school batting practice jerseys with the number 14 on them.
I love
And
it.
right here, these blue seats, you know where those are from?
Oh
Those are from
yeah,
Vet Stadium.
nice.
Pete Rose played in 79, 80, 81, 82. My
Yep,
wife bought the gift. So we're baseball lifers for sure. And we talked about my son a little bit too. So it's kismet, buddy, that we're on this show together.
for sure. And then the second thing I just want to call out for listeners is think about what Corey just talked about. So he took action, and we talk about that all the time on the podcast. So he's going to walk us through the rest of his professional career up to, and he's written a book. We're going to talk about his book. He's got his coaching business. But we're going back to when he was 14 years old and he took action. He started off making fucking sandwiches. Okay. So you're not too good for anything. There is no point at which it's too down the ladder for you to start. If you take action and you find something that matters to you and you pursue it, it can lead you to awesome places, even if you don't know where those awesome places are. But the people we have on this podcast that have successful lives, and that success is measured in many ways. It's not just financial success, it's good relationships. It's being a good citizen. It's being a good husband. It's being a good father, mother, daughter, whatever your gender is, doesn't matter. Those people take action because it matters. They take pride in what they do and they bust their ass. And that's what Corey just described to us. So I always feel like those things are worth pointing out to make sure they don't get missed in our stories.
100%. And that's
Yep,
that's the mantra that I teach. That's very much the common thread there is that, take action minus emotion. Nobody cares how you feel. Get it done. Get it done. And my parents would tell me that from a very young age. Just do it. Like they said, just do it before Nike did. I'm swear to God, they probably must have. I didn't have a choice. It's like you want something, you have to get up and do it. You don't wait for something to happen. The world ain't gonna meet you halfway. And I always learned you do $3 of work for $2 and you'll be just fine.
That's exactly right. I tell people all the time, I'm not the way I am because I'm in charge. I'm in charge because of the way I am. I behave this way since I was 8 years old, 9 years old. I remember I was on an all-star team when I was 13 and we had won the state tournament. We were going to a divisional tournament. We were at the batting cage and one of the players on our team said, "Man, we're not going to win this tournament. There's good teams." And I like just literally turned on my heel and I said, what are you talking? What did you just say? Say that again to me. Say it again." And he said, "I'm just saying there's good teams there." I said, "We're a good team." He said, "Well, they're state champions there." I said, "We're state champions." I said, "Look, let me make this real clear to everyone here. I'm not going up to this tournament for the experience. Someone's going to win 5 games and win the whole thing. I say it's going to be us. And if you don't think that, don't make the trip because we don't need you. We're going up there to win a baseball tournament." And lo and behold, we drew the heavy favorite in the first round and we upset them 3-1. They worked their way all the way back up to the losers bracket and we beat them again 9-1 in the championship game and won the whole thing in 5 games. But
Nice.
I've got other stories where we didn't get that done, right? It happens. You don't win them all. But if you don't have that mentality, you're not going to win them, plain and simple. You've got to have some belief in yourself that you're going to grind until you achieve your objective. So, yeah,
Confidence. Confidence.
yeah,
Go
that
on.
comes from that comes from doing the work and getting the repetitions in. That's how you build confidence, right?
Preparation.
Yep.
Preparation builds confidence.
Yep.
I don't do anything unless I'm about 99% sure what the result is before I do it. I don't
Totally.
wait. I don't bet. I don't gamble. The only thing I gamble on is myself because I know I'm going to win. And
I
that's in
love it.
just about anything. And now, look, I've had my share of L's on the board, but I go into it, that I am the big swinging, you know what, period. And, you can get pretty far in life with that. I mean, look, I've said this before. I'm not a Rhodes Scholar. I don't have an MBA or a PhD. I haven't written a thesis. Um, but I've outworked most every MFer you've ever met. And there's a lot of smart people that watch me work. And I love smart people. There's a lot of smart people that are unemployed. And I don't work, smart people work for me. I don't work for smart people. And I try to instill that same attitude with everyone who is either starting a business or running their own business. You have to have that confidence, that impenetrable attitude because people gravitate towards that. People don't want, people don't want to open their wallet to someone that isn't confident in what they sell or what they provide. Can you imagine if you went to your cardiologist and he said, "Well, I might be able to install that stint, we could try, but you're not going to go to that guy. It's not going to happen. You want confidence." I mean, we chuckle and we laugh. I'm making half a joke, but there are people that operate on that frequency, Joe.
That's right.
And, it's a reason why they're watching us on this show today instead of being interviewed.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Talk a little bit about what's the I don't like to use the word failure, but what's the bad outcome that you learned the most from as you were working your way up through the production and broadcasting world?
Oh man, where do I begin? I mean, I'll even share with you that something that predates that, but really hardened the clay in me to learn what commitment was about. And what'll be fun about this anecdote is it does have a baseball element to it.
I'm in.
I knew you would be. I knew you would be. So uh, I played baseball in high school. Went to a very good program. They produced a lot of college and pro players. Anyway, I wasn't one of them. That'll tell you all you need to know. But where I grew up, if you were one of the cool kids during spring break, you traveled to Panama City Beach, Florida, and you hung out at the beach. That was a big
Hmm.
deal. The kids in the Northeast go down the shore. They go to the Jersey Shore. That's their thing. The kids in the Southeast, they'll go to Panama City Beach or they'll go to St. Simon's Island or whatever. Anyway, Panama City Beach was the place to be. And spring break is dead in the middle of baseball season,
Yep.
usually in March. So I had put money down. I was going to go with my buddies and we were going to party and meet girls and do all that fun stuff. And I was fired up for it. And, I said to my parents, I go, what am I going to do? I mean, this is in the middle of the baseball season. Well, you're going to have to go have a meeting with your coach and tell him what's going on. Okay. So I said, hey, coach, can I talk with you after practice? So went into his office and I explained to him, hey, Panama City, spring break, girls, friends, it's a big deal. And all the seniors are doing it. And da, 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 da. And he said to me, he said, I really want you to go on that trip and I want you to enjoy yourself. I was shocked. I said, what did you just say? He said, I want you to go, have a good time. He said, you just got to do one thing. I said, what's that, coach? He said, I want you to leave your uniform nicely folded in my office. And the lesson that I learned is you got to make sacrifices.
Right.
So I wound up eating that money. And it turned out, we were traveling to a tournament in Tennessee that week. And who picked me up and who did I ride with? The whole from Atlanta to Tennessee, the head coach. He picked me up personally and drove me. And I learned a very valuable lesson in that instance. And the great part is that coach is still someone I talk to today, 35-ish years later, and who I love and who is very much a paternal figure in my life. Um, and I'm grateful that I learned that at the time was a hard, painful, rotten lesson. But, because most people aren't willing to make the sacrifice. They want all of the glory without any of the gore.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. I love it. And so what a valuable lesson to learn so early in life too. And it's awesome that you had someone that cared as much about you as that coach did and that saw as much in you as that coach did to challenge you in the way that he did, because that's exactly what he was doing, right? I mean, if you were some punk that he didn't think had it in him, he would have just said, whatever, go on the trip, leave me your uniform, get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
Um, and yeah, that's such an awesome thing, and that's what I try to explain to people. I told all I have to, so I my wife and I raised three sons, and I told them all, I'm the only guy that can be your dad. I don't get to be your friend. Anyone else can be your friend, your buddy, your chum. I'm the only one that can be your dad, and I love you guys enough that I'm always going to tell you the truth. And it's not going to seem sometimes like I love you very much when I do that, but make no mistake about it, that's why I'm doing it, because if you care about people, you'll tell them the truth.
Yep.
And it's not always an easy thing to do, but it's the right thing to do. And it's what you should do if you care about people.
And look, that taught me not only a valuable lesson for me, how to conduct myself, but it made such a lasting impact on me that I'm compelled to translate it to people that I talk to and say,
Yeah.
you've got to be willing to take your lumps. Everything you want in life is not, you're not going to be exempt from pain. You're not going to be exempt from sacrifice. The things that are any value in your life will come with some sort of pain first. Most people avoid that because they gravitate to comfort. I teach people to run to the fire and you get through it. And then you're better off because you did. Because most of the time, that fire ain't as scary as you thought it is in your mind. That whole time you're contemplating and worrying and waffling and I can't do this. I'm afraid to do that. I'm apprehensive about this. But once you get right up, put your toe to the line, you may have to take a couple shots. But the best news is you get to punch back.
That's right.
And then when you come out on the other side, you go, that wasn't too bad. I'm good. And then you're calloused and you're weathered and you're more prepared for the next one. Because I got news for you. It ain't gonna just be one battle. Every time you
Yeah.
turn around, somebody's lobbing a grenade at you for something. You might as well be prepared.
Welcome to life. And, we made an episode. So we air 5 episodes a week. We do 3 interview episodes, and we do two where it's just me talking about a topic. And one of the topics I talked about, and this just dovetails perfectly to what you just said. You should choose how you suffer because you're going to suffer. Like that's life. Welcome to life. Life is hard, and you get to pick how you suffer. So what do I mean by that? Well, I hear people say all the time, I would do anything to be in good shape. And I always say, except for eat right and exercise, right? Except for those two things. So, like, nobody has any fucking idea how Ozempic or all the other drugs that are like Ozempic work. There's been no long term studies. You know what? There have been lots of long term studies on are eating meats and vegetables and working out. Like that'll get you exactly the same place Ozempic will, but you don't want to do the work. You don't want to suffer now. So you choose to suffer much further down the road and for a longer period of time. And I would argue pay a much higher price than you would pay for suffering now. You don't want to have the hard conversation with the person you work with or with your spouse because things aren't going the way you think that they should. So you suffer because those relationships slowly degrade over time. And instead of attacking those things, I don't mean attacking in an aggressive and destructive way. I mean attacking in a proactive and constructive way. You can solve those issues if you communicate with each other. But if you choose not to do that, you're going to suffer much more down the road. So I argue, why not suffer now? Why not do the small suffering day to day? Because you're going to get a much greater long term payoff from that short term, immediate suffering now. Now, look, easy to say, not easy to do. But
Well, I mean, look, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I'll tell people, look, you either suffer in the gym a little bit now or suffer in the nursing home a lot later.
that's right.
And I don't just say these little aphorisms because they sound cool and I get a chuckle out of the people I tell them to. And thank you for that chuckle, by the way. But I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm 52 years old. I'll be 53 next month. And I'm up at 4 a.m. for my first workout. Then I come home and I eat, do a little work, and I go back about 8:30 for my second workout. So I'm suffering every day right with you. And I'm walking the walk. And I know what it feels like to challenge yourself physically and mentally. And I know that because I suffer twice a day, every day, that's the hardest part of my day. Everything else is cake, brother. Is cake. No way it's going to be as hard as what I had to experience in the gym because I'm also not in there doing jazzercise either, I can assure you. I mean, I'm doing some pretty intense stuff. Anywho, I'm digressing, but it had everything to do with that point you made about suffering now versus suffering later.
I love the jazzercise reference. That's most of the younger listeners won't get the jazzercise reference,
My
but
mom did it,
back
guilty.
my mom had the Jane Fonda workout tape. She used to do those.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, totally remember. I'm going off the jazzercise. See you later.
Exactly. Hey, look, I'm all for those leg warmers and the spandex. Those were a win for us teenage boys back in the day.
No doubt. No doubt. Still a fan.
No.
Not of my mom wearing them, let's be clear. But some other, fine females did a great job modeling those. But I got to be careful because my wife will throw a shoe at me if I say anymore.
Yeah. So you were in a pretty entrepreneurial environment at a pretty young age. It's if I've got the timing right, that like the Paul Turner business, it sounds like you were making a lot of decisions and kind of figuring out the path for that business at a pretty young age. Is that right?
Totally thrown into the fire. I mean, to his credit, I mean, there was some scary shit that I had to handle at the time, but
Mm.
I was going toe to toe with people much more experienced that had many more commas and zeros after their name than I did, and I was responsible. That was the word, responsible for, but for me, it was about survival. I didn't want to work for anybody else. I liked working for this guy. I saw the potential that this could be a long-term career. So, I was there 6, 7 days a week. And it sounds very much like I walk barefoot in the snow to school both ways. All that's, it sounds like that, but you gotta believe me. I would go in at 9 a.m. in the morning and I would be his sort of little assistant until 5 p.m. He leaves, gives me the keys, and then I'm either practicing or producing things until 2, 3 in the morning. And this was in my early 20s when all my buddies were calling me at 2 a.m. going, "Yo, Dis, you got to come and hang out. We're doing this." I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm working." They're like, "You're nuts. What are you doing?" Who's laughing now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like that, I was given a lot of responsibility. Like Paul Turner basically said to me, if you want me to keep justifying paying you, you've got to go out and get more business. Oh, and when you get enough business that you can't handle it all, you have to go hire the people to help you. So that was all me. I built the thing from nothing. It was literally nothing. I was the first guy to enter in, and everyone that came after me was a result of me in some shape or form or capacity. And that's where I got my bones. I learned about how to run a business, how to keep track of books, for example, monthly financial reports, hiring practices. I ran an internship program. I didn't go take an HR course. I just figured it the hell out. I'm in here meeting with, career service directors of colleges, and I'm as old as the students. And I'm going in there as the cool manager of this production company. And I would give little chats and inspirational speeches and motivational chats to groups of students at high school and colleges. And I was just, picking off, grabbing interested interns here and there. I did all of that. I did it forever. And I joke, I didn't have a 40-hour week until I was in my 40s. I didn't know what a 40-hour week is. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, it was always, and I worked 50 hours. That was light, you know?
I love that. And it's one of the things that I see that's fundamentally wrong with our society right now is somehow we have devalued good, honest, hard work. And I don't understand
Million percent.
how we've allowed that to happen. It seems to me, and I know I sound like the old guy saying you kids get off my lawn when I say this, but I know I'm right when I say it too. There used to be a pride in, hey, I don't give a shit if my job is to sweep the floor. I swept that floor better than any. Look at that floor. Look at what a good job I did on sweeping that floor. There was like a visceral pride to doing those kind of things. And it didn't have to be physical labor. It could have been like you talked about, building an intern program or learning how the accounting works in a business or whatever it was. And it just feels like we as a society have lost our way in making an emphasis of that. I've my wife and I say I, but we've been married for 32 years and she has every bit as much responsibility for my career success as I do. We've literally paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars into government programs. I've never taken unemployment in my life. I got fired one time, and I did not take I never filed for unemployment, even though I was eligible for it. That would to me that would be like a failure to me as a man that I needed somebody else to
Man, you're
support me.
preaching to the choir, brother. You are preaching. I see these people out there that are doing these GoFundMe's because they're not going to make their rent. Are you effing kidding me?
What
I
do you
mean,
think
look,
drives that? How do you think we got there as a society? I mean, we're about the same age. I'm 53, so
we're soft. Not we as a society are so I'm
yeah.
not soft. I'm hard as effing nails, but we're soft. I mean, no one wants to work hard. Everybody walks around like this and they listen. You know what their favorite radio station is? It's WIFM. You ever play that station? You never
No.
did because it's what's in it for me. Everybody walks around listening to WIFM. And it's sad. I mean, I could never imagine asking people to donate money so I could eat or pay my bills. Look, I'm talking about the regular guy, not someone who might have had a family tragedy or something. That's different. That's charity. That makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
just talking about the guy that's too lazy to go get a second job. Okay. Even in the midst of all of this success I had as a youngster in my 20s, even in my early 30s, when you have children, diapers are expensive.
That's right.
And when your kid is allergic to formula, formula is really expensive, the hypoallergenic one.
I had exactly that situation. Yes.
So I literally had to go sell Christmas trees in the fall and, November, December. And, there's nothing funnier than a Jewish kid selling Christmas trees for diaper money. And when, Joe and Mary say, should I get the Douglas fir or the Scotch pine? And I'm in my mind, I'm going, I don't effing know, but I'll go, that Douglas fir looks great. But that was the comedy of it. But I did that. I bounced at bars. I set up inflatable moon bounce rides on Sundays. I, drove around and set those things up for literally for diaper money. Because I come from humble beginnings and I wasn't making a ton of money early. My financial success didn't come until late 30s. But the point is I would never think about not working hard to earn what I wanted. It just wasn't a choice. I mean, my parents would have disowned me if that was the case. That was unacceptable because they raised me to be self-reliant. And this is from the little kid, self-reliant. You want to do something, do it yourself. True story in the book. I'll share this with you. I had a problem with a teacher when I was in 10th grade, I think. And my mother was a teacher. And she always subscribed to the teacher is always right. Doesn't matter what the kid thinks. But I was butted heads with this teacher, and for whatever reason. So I went home and I said to Mom, I said, Mom, this teacher is just driving me nuts. And she's, this and that and the other. And I'm crying the blues. I said, can we have a parent teacher conference? And she said, we can have a conference, but I'm not going to be there. I said, excuse me? She goes, you're going to tell the teacher you want to have a conference and you're going to settle it. And boy, I had to strap on a pair, this, dumb 15-year-old kid. And I politely asked the teacher, hey, I'd like to have a chat with you after school to talk about what's going on. And, you know, thank goodness it turned out well. And she was able to kind of, air her grievances. And she was very open-minded as I kind of said my side. I didn't exactly get my way in the end, but at least the air was clear. But that taught me like, wait a minute, okay, even though it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how much experience you have. If you walk into a situation and you conduct yourself like you own the room, very cliche, a lot can happen like that. And like that was baked into me early, and I took that with every situation. You got to handle it yourself. And thank goodness I've done the same with my kids, that they've had to interact, with coaches, teachers, managers, supervisors. Because if you can't handle that, no one's going to do it for you. You hope someone's going to do it for you, but you got to be willing to step up and take the hits yourself.
Yeah, that's the part. Love all that. Absolutely love all that. Agree with everything you just said. And that's the part that's so confusing to me is there seems to be a lot of people who think like they're owed something. And I've never I've never thought that. I've never felt that, and I certainly don't endorse that. And like who do you think you are? Like how entitled of a mindset do you have to think that the world owes you something? The world owes you nothing. I mean, nothing. And if you think like people got their own problems, why are they going to worry about your problems? Why do they care about your problems? That's what I tell my sons all the time. If you want to do well financially, solve other people's problems. Like that's all you got to do. Solve their problems. They'll pay you a lot
There
of
you
money to
go.
solve their problems. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all you got to do.
for sure. I mean, look, it's rampant, that mentality. I'd like to think it's getting worse because of that we can get into millennials and all that stuff. I mean, we're increasingly a microwave instant gratification culture with everything. You can press a button and order a meal, buy a car, rent a room, go grocery shopping. You don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore. Uh,
Right.
and people think that that's how life is done. And look, I call me crazy. I still go to the bank. I like to talk to the teller, and my kids will say to me, "Why do you do that? Just do it on your phone." And blah 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 blah. Then if there's some issue, some problem, when I walk in there, they'll go, "Hey Corey, how are you? Good to see you." And I tell them what's going on. Let me see if I can get that fixed for you. Boom, boom, boom. Magic. It's taken care of. And I say to my kids, that is why you do it in person because you can't do that.
Exactly.
And that translates to everything. my kids have a problem. I said, have you spoken to the guy? And they go, no, I sent him a text. I go, no, no, have you spoken to him? It's a big difference. Look, these little inventions here are both a blessing and a curse. They have brought us all closer together and they have driven us further apart at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
And all of that are factors into what we're talking about, this entitled society. Like I can get whatever I want, whenever I want, as fast as I want. And life just doesn't happen that way. And it's not a mystery that we have an entire generation that are still living in mommy's basement.
Yeah, it's I think some of it I used to own a lot of investment property. I've sold it all, so I don't currently own any, but I had a lot of tenants. And the expectation of tenants was wild to me. So whatever, let's just say your furnace goes out, right? So I would call a company and they would say, okay, we can be there tomorrow. Got it. Schedule the appointment. I'd call them back. Well, my furnace isn't working right now. I need it to be on right now. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, my furnace at my own personal house was out for 3 days before somebody could come. So you know what we did? We got blankets. We put on two pairs of socks and we
Yeah,
waited for the
exactly.
HVAC guy because that's when they could come. Like, I'm not stiffing you. I wasn't ever a slumlord. I wasn't, doing any of those types of things. But like, the world doesn't work that way simply because you don't want to be uncomfortable right now. Bad shit's going to happen to you. Learn to deal with it.
They expect you to be like Superman and to fly around and reverse the orbit of the Earth so time goes backwards for them. That's what they expect. I figured you would get that
Yeah.
reference.
And look, that it's that mentality. I'm hammering on this because it's the mentality that matters. And we're going to get into Corey's coaching business in the book that he wrote, and it's almost entirely about the mentality. It's much less about the action than it is the mentality, and so that's why I'm hammering on these subjects. Lest you think we're a couple, we very well could be a couple of grumpy old men here airing our grievances, but there's some value in it. Like, you look at a couple guys that have seen a thing or two and been fairly successful in the world. There's probably some value in listening to what we have to say. That's all I'm saying. So, with that said, what made you start your coaching business? Well, like, what was the impetus for you? Like, you've always had the entrepreneurial bent and et cetera, et cetera. But at what point did you decide to focus on that?
There were two circumstances. There were kind of these two worlds were colliding that I don't want to say forced my hand, but were kind of the genesis of the whole coaching movement. Circumstance number one is, working at the same place since I'm 19 years old, building that thing up, having it, create lives and careers for all sorts of people was a very rewarding thing. I was at the very top of the food chain. I was the VP of the company. I like to say, and this is a reference I know you'll understand. I was Michael Jordan, and the owner was Jerry Reinsdorf. Okay. Michael Jordan was not going to buy the team. He was going to score all the points and win the championships and mentor all the other guys. The only upward trajectory for me with that company at that stage was buy the company. And
Yeah.
I just didn't have the intuition, the gut feeling to do it for whatever the reason. So I had this bit of unfulfillment. Like, okay, I'm making a great living, but it wasn't enough. So I had that. Then at the same time, my youngest son was a very highly touted, highly recruited high school baseball player. Um, Colleges and pro teams both started looking at him. He was 15 years old, and he played for the best high school in Pennsylvania, two-time state champion, et cetera, et cetera. Played with a lot of guys who are in the pros right now. We knew that when he left high school, which was in Pennsylvania, he probably wasn't going to play college in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
or if he was going to be on a pro team, he's not going to be in the same zip code as me, and I would be damned if I was going to miss any games.
Mm,
So I needed to think. So this is like 2017-ish. I said I needed to think of a plan, a way that I could still earn money that built on my expertise, but allowed me the freedom to schedule my work around my life and not the other way around. So I could be available to go to games, functions, whatever else. So I decided I'm gonna start teaching voiceover actors and actors and other creatives how to market themselves because I was sitting in that chair on the other side of the desk, reviewing, vetting people they wanted me to hire them. I said, well, how can I teach these people how to do it better? Because especially social media was really starting to groove around then, 10 years ago. So I said, I'm going to come up with this little business to teach talent how to do that. And two talent turned into five, turned into 10, turned into 20. And then it turned into so many that I was generating as much revenue from the coaching as I was from my full-time salary. So I'd
Mm,
already, and I was doing both together at the same time.
yeah, right.
So I proved to myself that I could earn enough to live. And then you factor in COVID was kind of a wild card, happened around then, spring of 2020. My son graduated high school in May of 2020. He was committed to the University of Richmond. We lived in Pennsylvania. There was no freaking way I was driving down I-95 for 6 hours to go watch games. So my wife and I put all our chips in. I sold my house, got rid of two cars, condensed, a four-bedroom house to a two-bedroom apartment. We moved to a little town in Southern Virginia, so I could only be 2 hours away. And I told the owner of the production company, say, I'm moving to Virginia. I'll still run your production company remotely if you want. He wasn't fond of that request. So we wound up parting ways by July. And, since then, like I said, I've been doing it full time since then. But it was those two things, my son's baseball career and my unfulfillment at the day job, that said, hey, what can I do to create this, what I later coined my Shawshank plan, uh, to dig out, crawl through that river of sewage and get my freedom on the other side. And so
Nice.
that,
So it's morphed from there. So you started off with doing voice actors, but you do a lot more than that in
for
your
sure.
coaching business now. Talk about current state of the coaching business. What do you guys do? Who do you work with? Who do you focus on, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, it spans the gamut. I mean, I got financial advisors, insurance people, restaurants, online retail, other coaches are hitting me up. A photographer I've brought on the last couple of months, been helping him grow his business. It spawned a design business, which is underneath my coaching umbrella called the Dissin Design Team, where we're building websites and social media graphics and logos and social media content for those that don't want to do it themselves. So that's been a nice sort of companion business. And it's really, what started as strictly sort of marketing coaching for voiceover talent morphed into marketing and business coaching for entrepreneurs and has since matured into this life and high performance coaching for anybody. Because ultimately, in doing it long enough and learning on the job, it's the coaching business is not as much about teaching technique or X's and O's as one thinks. Ultimately, even if the impetus is marketing, there is some life hiccup that is preventing the marketing from being done. So, am I a psychologist? No, but I'm kind of an armchair one. I'll tell you that right now. Because I deal with a lot of personalities, and it usually just comes down to I'm really boiling this down and simplifying it. It's, hey Corey, I can't be consistent. Hey Corey, I'm scared to do X, Y, or Z. Hey Corey, I procrastinate almost every time. It's somewhere in that zone. And then my job is to come in there and sort of literally and figuratively grab you by the shoulders and shake you and say, let's go, man. And I do it in a way that I tell everyone, yes, you're hiring me as your coach. You are my client. You're paying me, but you are not doing this alone. Okay. You talked about Tom Brady. Bill Belichick sat on the sidelines. I'm in the huddle with you. I'm doing it with you. I'm feeling the pain with you. I'm guiding you. People contact, I get texts all day. I guarantee when I turn my phone on when we're done this, my phone's lit up with texts or emails, people with one issue or another or update or whatever, and I'm constantly helping them navigate. It's really turned into a big brother kind of situation. I jokingly say business bodyguard, but it ain't no joke, man. People want help. They feel a certain sense of empowerment, that they know that they have that little safety net for a while I'm on their dime. And I try to, while I'm with them, I try to exude and spray on them as much confidence as I can. So when they leave the nest, they have those nuts and bolts that they can use themselves.
Love that. So you touched on a couple of things there that I think are really important to dive deeper on.
Go for it.
One of them is confidence. So do you feel like, and I'll be very curious, I'll share, I'll tell you my answer to my own question after you answer my question. So,
Deal.
um, were you born with a lot of confidence? Do you remember being worried and scared a lot as a kid, or did that come somewhat naturally to you and then was reinforced as you grew, or is that something you had to develop because it wasn't natural to you?
The short answer is it came out of the womb. Like, and it was sort of preordained. I mean, from as early as I can remember, I was always at the head of the class for something. I was getting tested to be in second grade when I was in kindergarten. I was always at the highest reading level. I took the SATs in the sixth grade and got an 800. Not too shabby for look. I'm no savant. I'm not in Mensa, but there was always this Corey's a different kid. I can remember in the seventh grade when I graduated elementary school, they gave awards. You know, the English Language Arts Award, the Spanish Award, the Perfect Attendance Award, the this award, that award. I almost swept the whole damn thing. And I don't, it wasn't like a conscious, like, I want to be in charge or I want to be the best. It was like, this is how you're supposed to be. I didn't know any other way. I mean, even just getting grades, there were no B's in my house. Are you kidding? There's no B. What is that? It's A, period. I don't think I got my first B until I was a junior in college. And that was, oh my God, it was the end of the world. But the, 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 the point is like, and I was the captain of my high school baseball team. I was always, the steward or the representative of this, the Model UN, all these little things. I was always, like I said, I directed television shows before I could drive. It was just something that was like baked in, like, core, you're going to be in charge. There's no choice. So my confidence came from I can't, I don't even want to say it was like an expectation. It was just normal for me. I don't know how else to explain it. I didn't know any different. I thought it was weird that people weren't that way.
Mm.
Like, I thought it was strange. Like, what do you mean this guy's afraid to do this, that, or the other? What are you talking about? Just go do it. But my old man would tell me, just don't. I would say to my dad, if there's something different, I would say, hey, Pop, I'll try. He goes, don't try, do it. Period. There wasn't any wiggle room there. It was like, just do it. And that's, it was in the DNA, man. It was like inescapable. And, I guess it's gotten progressively worse or better, whoever you talk to, who knows me. Um, um, and what some people call encouraging, others would call a hard ass. And that's fine. I wear that well. But what you see is what you get, man. This is just how I've been forever.
Yeah, that would have surprised me if you answered differently because I was similar. It's always been foreign to me that if you want something, why would you just not go after it? Why would you just not go get it? Like it's never made any
It's
sense to
interesting.
me that you.
Forgive me for interrupting you, but you chose three words there in a row that are that is the the sort of bat signal for my entire entrepreneurial adventure. It's written all over my website. Go get it. I got
Yeah.
t-shirts that say go get it. I've walked in to places that people don't know me and they say, "You're the go get it guy?" That is a thing. Like, go get it. I mean, and now I'm going on. Forgive me for the interruption again, but that was born from when I was building my coaching business. I used to watch a lot of other content creators, and shocker, I'm a fan of Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're just blown away that I would like enjoy his stuff, but I say that
We get the
facetious.
Philadelphia tie-in as well, but yes.
Come on, Philly, Rocky, let's go, dude.
Yeah.
And he, at the time, he was doing a lot of these sort of motivational, you know, uh, little talking head videos. And at the end of them all, he would go like this, keep punching. And I was like, oh man, that is fire. I got to think of something that's keep punching, but's not keep punching.
Right.
And I didn't know what that was. And then one day, I was doing my little talking head videos at the same time on LinkedIn and Facebook, whatever else. And for whatever reason, I was bitching at people for not um, achieving something or locating something. And at the end of the video, I said, well, just go get it then. Just go get it. And I was like, and I watched the video back. I go, that's it.
There it
So
is.
instead of keep punching, did go get it. And that has been, I mean, literally, it's on hats, it's on t-shirts, it's all over my website, it's on my business cards. Everybody knows online that when you get with me, you're going to go get it because you got no choice. Especially if you're
Right.
paying, you better go get it. Anyway, so like I said, sorry for the interruptions. You were telling the story. So,
No, 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 it's all good. That's I was like I said, I've been that way since I was a kid. So it's so foreign to me, but it I didn't realize until much later in my life that people that have that mentality. And look, I'm not saying I'm better than you. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm different than you. That's all. And so for me to relate to people, I've had to learn how other people think because it's very important to me from a leadership perspective. I don't want to tell you what to do. I want to teach you how to think so you can figure out what to do on your own. That's my whole goal. And so in order to do that, I've got to understand how you think now so that I can help you think differently because if you keep thinking the way you're thinking, you're going to keep getting the same results that you're getting. And you're not going to start taking different actions until you start thinking different thoughts. So the thoughts come before the actions. And so that's why I'm always curious how people think. And so when someone says, like people will tell me, you're so brave. I'm like, that's actually not true because you can only be brave when you're afraid. And I'm not afraid much. Like you could call me fearless. I think fearless is probably accurate. There's not a lot I'm afraid of, but I always encourage people to be brave because if you're scared, do it anyways. That's what brave is. And so it's actually not, I'm not brave much because I'm not scared of much. Now, that's caused me problems in the real world because I've walked into rooms that most people are smart enough to walk by because they see the lights and the snarling and they're like, oh, fuck, I'm staying away from that. Not me. I'll kick that door in and go, I wonder what's in there. I'm going to go tackle that thing. And then you're in a tussle that you didn't even need to be in because you were too stupid to just walk past the door. But
bull in the china closet, man. I get it.
yeah. So my whole point there is like my wife has always said you got to qualify that for people because they think you're acting superior to them. She knows me. She knows I'm not. That's not my point at all. My point is you can think this way too. And if you want good things in life, this is the way you have to think to go after good things in life. You have to go get the things that are important to you. And so I'm curious for you as a coach when you come across like okay, whatever it is, procrastination or I'm scared of or whatever. Uh do you give your clients different thoughts, ideas, like things to think to help them through that or how do you work with them on those types of things?
I attack this different depending on who the client is because some
Hmm.
folks are wired a little different. I don't use the same technique, but it could be something as simple as if someone fears a certain consequence of their action. That's a big one. If I do this, in my mind, I've created a situation where this might happen.
Hmm.
So I take them through that. I said, okay, Okay, it happened. Now what? What's going to happen? And then when they start to look at it that way, they're like, well, it really isn't so bad. It's all right. So that's one way to attack it. Other times is I will go to the edge of the diving board with them and jump with them. Not just say, all right, you jump, go. So now come on, I'm gonna do it with you. So it could be as something as simple as I really want to get a job with this company. And I said, well, have you connected with the CEO on LinkedIn? Uh, no. Why? I don't know what to say. Okay, take out your LinkedIn now, type in the company name in the search bar, look up the CEO's name. You got his profile? Okay, hit connect right now. Do it right now. Hit connect. Now, so see where it says add a note? All right, hit add a note. Now we're going to type a note. And then I type a note with them. I say, here's what we're going to say. Boom, boom, boom. Now hit send. Did you hit send? Hit send. I force them through it.
Mm.
And then when they're done, they're like, well, geez, that wasn't too bad. Or, I get contacted a lot where they get that negative feedback, whatever it is. They get a DM, a phone call, something where someone pushes back on whatever they did. And I'll say, go look outside. And they go, what? I said, go look outside. And I said, what color is the sky? And they'll say, blue. I said, did it fall on you? No. When you wake up tomorrow, what color will the sky be? Blue. Will it fall on you then? No. Life goes on. I try to take them to that place where they don't want to be to say it's not that bad because most of the apprehension and the fear and the procrastination comes from this theater that they've created in their own mind. And that's the only place where it exists. And I'll tell them, hey, you just told me X. Who is the only person on earth that thinks about X? And they'll go, me. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Most people are just they're in a prison in their own mind. And that's what prevents them from doing very simple actions. Everybody's a little different. I mean, I deal with some folks that are very sort of introverted and really just scared of their own shadow, to folks that are mirror of me, but they have their own itis and they need a different kind of treatment. It just really depends. I try to, in the getting to know you phase, I try to get to know the crust of somebody. You see that shiny, exterior. That's one thing. When you get to know them, you figure out, oh man, this person's got some BS going on, and you got to be able to deal with that. So it's a process. It's everybody's a little different.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a similar approach that I take. So like, my wife and I have been together for 32 years and she's by far the best person I've ever met. Like, I cashed in my chips. I always say I pulled a Mark Cuban. So I took the Yahoo stock for my company and then I sold all the Yahoo stock right before it crashed. And I sit here as a billionaire in the relationship department because my wife is just a fucking outstanding person. But she's also very nervous, very anxious, and she's the least trusting person on the face of the earth. So we're a perfect match because I'm the most straightforward person on the face of the earth. So I like whatever, go through my phone, read the mail. I don't give a shit. I'm not hiding nothing. I only disappoint one woman at a time. It's been her for the last 33 years. So,
Join the club, pal.
but when I realized she was this way, I would say, so let's just talk through this. Like, tell me what the worst case scenario is. She's like, okay, I got it. I said, no, I'd ask you to think of it. Say it. What is it? Say it out loud. And she would tell me, and I would say, okay, then what? Well, what do you mean? Well, so what happens now? The worst case scenario has happened. What happens next? Well, I don't know. So then why are we sitting here fucking worried about that? What are we doing here? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
take the L and move on.
exactly. And look, going back to baseball, a lot of this, I'm like you, where I was born really confident, and that it got exacerbated over time because I was hard worker and I was successful, a lot of stuff. And so as you build those repetitions, you're like, hey, I can figure out what I need to figure out. If it doesn't go my way, I'll figure it out from there. No big deal. But I also learned a ton from baseball, and I was a pitcher. And so, like, the way I explain it to people, so I played Division 1. That was the highest level I played. But you could play a game in front of 3,000, 4,000 people. That's not uncommon at that level. And so if you throw a pitch and somebody hits it 450 feet, that's pretty instantaneous feedback. You didn't do a very good job. Like,
Yeah,
there's no hiding from it either because you're
yeah.
right in the middle of the field. And they toss you another ball while that guy's touching them all, and you're rubbing that ball down, and you get about 30 seconds. You don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You don't have time to throw a pity party. You don't have time to throw a tantrum. And nobody gives a fuck about your feelings. The only thing they know is there's more runs up on the board than there used to be, and it's your fault. And so now, 30 seconds later, it's time to go again. And if you're not ready and you don't make the adjustment and you don't learn the lesson, they just come take the ball from you, put another guy in because there's 10 other guys on the team that do your job. And that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
what you want. Yeah, you don't want to be sitting on the bench. So you better learn to take feedback in the moment. You better learn to recover quickly. You better learn to get back in the fight, or you're not going to be there much longer. I had no idea when all that was. I just loved doing it. I had no idea it was going to build these skills that made me successful as a husband, that made me successful as a father, that made me successful as a business person. Because when shit goes wrong, and make no mistake, shit will go wrong in your
Oh, for
life,
sure.
you know, you better learn the lesson and you better apply it to your next approach. I always try to stop people from using the word failure. I always say, you got an outcome, right? So you took an action and you got an outcome. Did you like the outcome? Then keep taking the action. If you didn't like the outcome, take a different action or tweak the action. Like,
Well said.
stop thinking about it in terms of success or failure. Did you like or not like the outcome? That's it. That's the way to think about it.
They want their action to be perfect
Yeah.
because they think a perfect action will determine a perfect result. I'm of the mindset of I'm going to encourage you, and I'll tell my clients this all the time. They'll all laugh if they hear this part of it. I said, go make a mess. Go make a mess. Go be messy. Who cares? Who cares? At least if you made a mess, it shows you put in the effort. I go be the Tasmanian devil. Go just blow shit up, man. Go nuts. To your baseball point, which is a great one. I mean, even as a coach, I would tell kids a couple things. A, you got to have amnesia, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, because if you're either gonna hit that home run or you're gonna swing and look stupid on a changeup, and you got to come back and you got two more chances, or your best pitch is your next pitch. You just got,
It's the only one you have. It's the only one you have control over. The one you're throwing right
yeah,
now.
that's it. Just get the next one. I mean, God, I can't tell you how many times I said get the next one to my son or all the kids he played with or all the kids I coached. I sound like a broken record. Just get the next one. Just get the next one. And that's a metaphor for life right there. Get the next one. Swing and miss, go get the next one. I mean, I'm not here because I have a perfect batting average. I probably didn't even hit 200, but at least I got some at bats, man.
Took your hacks. That's right. Look, when I coached kids, I always used to, like, a kid would give up a home run, and I would just say, "Hey, give up 700 more, and you're tied with me." And
Yeah,
I was
there you
pretty
go.
good.
I would
Like, they
say
used to pay
you
me.
must have thrown a strike.
Oh my gosh, exactly. Exactly. So you've also just published the book that you wrote. Talk a little bit about what motivated you to write the book, and then let's talk a little bit about the book.
Yeah, going the distance. I mean, obviously plays with the name. It's even on the shirt, discipline, spelled the right way.
I love your shirt. I noticed it earlier. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, going the distance, 10 rounds to a championship life and career. It pays homage to the shoulders that I stood on to get me where I'm at today. It's a love letter to my kids and my family I wanted them to know what made me me, because ultimately what made me me is going to make them them. And because they were alive for some of the things that happened in this book. There's some that predates them, and I want them to know where they came from. But I also sincerely, I didn't just want to send a thank you card or call these people and say, I just wanted to thank you for being so influential in my life. I wanted to have a document that would live on and, really announce how much I love and respect these people. On each chapter, now it's kind of written I try to write it in a unique way. Going the Distance has a boxing flavor to it, and my chapters are not called chapters; they're called rounds. It's a 10 round fight. Life is a fight. There's all these metaphors in there, and there's even a scorecard at the end of each round where you learn the lesson. Um, but each round is dedicated to another person who impacted me and the lessons they taught me. And rather than just kind of stating the lessons in a very dry way, I shared real world examples, how I learned them and how I applied them afterwards. And I kind of take you on this little life journey. I mean, dare I say, a little Forrest Gumpian. Because I did a lot of stupid is as stupid does type stuff in the book. It's not all glory, believe me. There's literally a story in there about me pissing my pants. Uh, but there's a lesson in that, and I thank the gentleman who made me do that. But I wanted people to know and learn who these people were, how much I appreciated them, and oh, by the way, you can take this stuff, put it in your back pocket, and it can help you too. And last but not least, you know, as much of an education as I have in school and in life, I was never a voracious reader. And I wanted to put something together that was an easy read. Had a lot of great information, entertainment, but it wasn't like Tolstoy. I wanted people to be able to get a quick dose, couple hours of some toilet reading, well spent, and hopefully I've delivered that. So there's the nutshell explanation. The Cliff Notes version, that'll be something that'll date us a little bit there.
Yeah, now it's Chat GPT. It'll just write the paper for you.
Yeah, there you go. How about it?
What did you like about the writing I'm assuming that you were not a writer and this is the first book you've ever written.
I was not an author of books, but I've always been a writer.
Sure.
Big difference.
Oh, yeah, I didn't from a production perspective and a marketing
Yeah,
perspective.
always been a
Absolutely
writer.
makes sense.
Wrote
Yeah.
ad copy, wrote all
Yep.
sorts of things. And I always felt I was creative. And I always wanted to write a book. For whatever reason, I just kept putting it off. And it was in my entrepreneurial career, in my social media experience, promoting my business. That was the kind of one piece that was missing. All these other guys that kind of did the thing that I did had this leave behind of this book, and I'm thinking, man, I got to step up and just do it. So I enjoyed the writing experience. Um, I wrote the entire thing. I did work with a coach. We're talking about coaches. Hey, look, I spend money on coaches. I'm not afraid
Mm.
to say that out loud. And I worked with a coach, and he took me through a very cool process where I was able to kind of talk the book. It's almost like doing an audiobook in reverse. We did a lot of chats like this, and those chats were turned into transcriptions, which then we turned into book copy. Um, and because I was able to tell a lot of cool stories, all we had to do was come up with the fiber the connective tissue to put it all together and with a common thread. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I mean it was uh, grueling. 13 rounds of revisions. I could pretty much recite the book word for word by the time we were
I
done.
bet.
And I was so sick of looking for periods and apostrophes and capitals and all that stuff. Um, but it took 4 months to write the book, which is relatively fast, I think, to write a book. Um, a fun process. Look, is there another one in me? Who knows? We'll see how much crazy experience I get between now and I write the next. You never know. Maybe I'll do a book of all the cool podcasts that I was on. We'll see.
There you go. Clearly, this one will be at the top, but you
Oh, it'll,
can
it'll be called the Salty Ginger Roadmap.
you can rank everyone below us. That's where they belong. We get it. It's
Yeah, it'll
fine.
be called Salty Ginger and everyone else I hung out with.
Oh my gosh, perfect. So, have you what feedback have you gotten from the book? What have you heard from it so far from people who've read it?
I mean, generally, it's inspiring. They're surprised how I'm take them behind the curtain. How I've had a lot of people tell me they cried certain sections of the book.
Mm,
Hell, I cried writing those sections. There's some personal stuff in there, man. It's like, look, people see the, the goatee and the tattoos and the muscles and all that stuff, and but there is a human being somewhere back in here, you
yeah.
know. So a lot of folks are shocked that I would show that sort of vulnerability. That's not my forte, but it tells the truth. So I wasn't going to sugarcoat that or avoid it or omit it because it's part of the story.
Well, so I love that topic. So I'm going to go ahead and make a statement here that I think few would dispute. You are a very masculine guy. I am a very masculine guy.
Thank goodness.
Um, there is kind of a narrative out there that masculinity in its traditional slash natural form is toxic, which I call complete bullshit on. Um,
Amen.
but I also think it gets mislabeled a lot. What gets labeled as toxic masculinity is actually what we used to call a douchebag. And those are two different things. I don't like douchebags either, and I put them in their place when I encounter them because I am a person that can do that. I am 6'3". I am tough. I don't have to take shit off people, so I don't. My first approach is friendly. My first approach is accommodating. I've been in enough fights to know that even when you win a fight, it hurts. It's not a lot of fun. And look, I'm 53. I don't like fighting anymore. I didn't like it a lot when I was doing it, and I got pretty good at it because I was in my share of them. But we need men as a society. We need men to act like men again. And part of acting like men is making it okay for people to talk about the things that bother them so you can help them fix them and help them deal with them. And I appreciate the fact that you talk about being vulnerable in the book because simply because you're a tough guy and you're a masculine guy doesn't mean that you can't be vulnerable. Now, the way you do it matters. I'll tell you right now that women don't like wussy. They just don't. They can talk about liking soft beta men all they want. They don't. They're not the guys they marry. They marry guys like me and Corey. That's how it works. And so you got to find a group of guys or a group of people that you can have those conversations with and talk about those things with. It's important to talk about those things, but nobody wants to listen to you whine and moan, and nobody wants to listen to you feel sorry for yourself. They want men to take leadership roles. They want men to provide direction. They want men to lead the charge. And if you've listened to what Corey's talked about at all, he's built a pretty good life doing exactly what we just talked about. But I appreciate the fact that you talk about being vulnerable in the book, and that's surprising to people. But I argue that's what men do. That's what masculine men do. They make it okay to be who you are, and then they kick you in the ass and say, okay, enough of that. Now let's get moving again.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not exempt from emotion. I do a lot of things minus emotion to be
Yeah.
successful. But yeah, I mean, look, it's really a sad state of affairs how it's almost become a negative to be a man. In this day and time, I'm allergic to that mindset. And I'm not saying you would say this to me, but if people want to call me a douchebag for acting that way, have at it, man. I
Right.
could fuck. I don't care. Forgive my language. I don't care. That's part of being masculine is when you have more than just the XY chromosome when you are masculine. Do you know what else other gene you have? That's a
No,
question.
what?
It's the IDGAF gene.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I was born
Okay.
without it, actually.
So I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care. I really don't care. Like my kids will joke and make fun of me about that, which is fine. But I don't care. It's like my wife jokes when we go into a retail establishment or a restaurant. She goes, "You're walking in there like you're going to hold the place up." I'm like, so I don't care. I rarely wear a shirt with sleeves. I'm tatted up and down. And, I go into the grocery store that way. I wear shirts that have profane language on them with certain little messages for certain people. Um, but it's stuff that I believe. And I'm not trying to just walk around and be a tough guy, but it's like the world's hard. The world is hard. And no one is going to meet you halfway. No one is going to be as forgiving as you'd like. If you can't conduct yourself with a certain sense of authority and strength and masculinity, well, good luck letting life happen to you. And I don't play that. I make the rules. It's like I'm gonna get what I want. It sounds like a spoiled attitude, but I'm creating my own destiny. I'm not going to let life pull me. I'm going to push through in the direction that I want. And I try to share that with the people that I work with. You don't have to be bald and tatted and bench 300 pounds to get those things in your life. It's about how you conduct yourself. It's about how you communicate. It's a big one. Most people are complete failures at communication,
Mm.
writing, texting, typing. They just don't know how, and I'm going on into a different area here, but how important the words you choose and use are. And
Yeah, let's
that in and of itself tells people how confident you are in anything.
I totally agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. I'd like to spend a little bit of time on that since you brought up the subject. So, like the example I'll use. So, let me take one step back. One thing I want to say is I everything you said I just agree with. The only corollary I will add is I'm going to get what I want, but I don't want it at someone else's expense. I just want to earn it, right? And
Fair
I know
enough.
you're
Yeah,
exactly the same way.
yeah.
Because I think too many people when they hear I'm going to get what I want, so you don't care about me? Not at all what I said. Not at all what I said. I want you to get everything you want too. You just got to go get it. That's not on me. That's on you to go get it.
Right. You
Not on
getting
me
it
to get
has nothing to do with me.
it. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not that I don't care if you get it or not. It's just that you getting it or not doesn't affect me.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to
right.
take care of my business. It's up to you to take care of your own. If you can get more than me, God bless you. Go for it.
You bet. Absolutely. I can't remember the last time I was jealous of somebody. I don't get jealous of anybody. I like what I got. I go after what I want, and I'm genuinely happy for people that have success. Like genuinely happy. I want everyone to have a good life. I want everyone to get what they want. Now, if you want to control other people's lives, no, you're not gonna. I'm not gonna be in your side on that. I don't care who you are or what you're trying to control. That's not how we
No,
operate.
that's not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but on the communication thing, like I always use the example of the word sorry. I tell people I apologize when I'm actually sorry. That's when I say I'm sorry. And I'm not sorry for what I just said or what I just did, so I'm not going to apologize for it. But when I am, I do. And look, I've gotten good at the unequivocal. I've been married for 32 years. I've fucked up a lot of stuff. So I know how to deliver the what I call the unequivocal apology, which is I'm really sorry I shouldn't have been that way. Not
No, no, wait a
not
minute.
you. Yeah.
I have to correct you. Forgive me.
Go
The
ahead.
unequivocal apology to your spouse, to your wife, is I'm sorry, dear. Here's my credit card.
Fair enough. So I'm actually a step ahead of you. I just pay a stipend every month into a separate, like, swear to God, this is true, into a separate bank account. I don't know what happens to the money. I just pay it immediately at the
All,
beginning of every
all
month.
I can tell you is I'm going to preempt this segment of our interview so my wife doesn't do that. Or else I'm totally screwed. Nah, I love my wife. I love being able to treat her to things and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, you're not, what you were saying is there's no competition. You know, what someone else's definition of success or wealth, or whatever else, that's great. I mean, but let me tell you, man, I am the most fortunate, luckiest dude around, and I'm not rich. I'm wealthy in other ways. That I get to wake up every day where I'm at and who I'm with and doing what I'm doing.
Exactly.
I pinch myself. I say to my wife all the time, can you believe I get to do this every day and where we get to do it? I mean, I come from humble beginnings, man. I mean, Northeast Philadelphia. Believe me, it ain't uh, Bel Air, you know.
Right.
I mean, and now I live an hour from Bel Air in Southern California in a gated community, a ham and egger like me. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate. I don't forget that, and that keeps me hungry because even though I kind of live a life of semi-retirement, I'll be honest with you, but it keeps me hungry enough that I want to keep that funnel full because I don't want this way of life to change. I'm enjoying it too much, man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. On the communication front, talk a little about what you see that how people are challenged in communication. Where do they go wrong in their communication? What's one tip you could give people that they could fix if they want to be better communicators?
Especially in the age of social media communication, because a lot of people are using that as the vehicle anymore. They don't rely on email quite as much. No one's sending letters anymore or
Hmm.
leaving voicemails anymore. I mean, the DM, the post, the comment has become the language anymore. And people, I hear this all the time. Well, you have to act a certain way if you're on LinkedIn. I'm just using LinkedIn as an example.
Sure.
What do you mean you have to act a certain way? Be yourself. Well, don't you have to, use certain words or, everyone is Mr. and Mrs. or blah, blah. Be yourself. Authenticity. Be authentic in your communication. Write like you speak. Now,
Mm.
if something that is to be published, like a book, a magazine article, something like, okay, you want to have it tightened up and grammatically correct and all that stuff. But if you're communicating with someone in business, um, shoot from the hip, be yourself. Don't act like somebody else. That's they don't understand that sticks out in the wrong way. It comes off as very plastic and artificial. And also, the culture has created this environment where people are expected to understand the context, minus the context.
Right.
I see this all the time where people will write a sentence and I'll go, well, what do you mean? Well, what I meant to say was da 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 da. I said, well, why the hell didn't you write it in there? It's not in there. They don't understand. They are, when they read it back to themselves, they are filling in the gaps that they've left empty. But the person on the other end doesn't have the benefit of that. So they don't understand what you really mean. That happens a lot.
Mm.
I'm like, and I'll say, be precise, be specific. What do you mean by that? And I'll have to show them. Do you understand this could be misinterpreted to say X? Okay, I understand. I get that you're trying to say Y, but X, it looks like X. Read it back to yourself. And it's a foreign concept to people. But yeah, this whole idea of assumed context is rampant.
Yeah, it's such a great point. I was fortunate throughout my career. I've been in lots of leadership trainings and management trainings and blah, blah, blah. So I used to live up in New England, and you'll appreciate this from being from Philly. I was up in New England, so I was around all the Ivy League colleges, and we used to have a Harvard MBA professor that would come and do management training because they had done a case study on the business I worked at. And he said something one time. He also happened to be the head of HR at Goldman at one point.
Oh, wow.
And he said something at one point that it's always stuck with me. And he said, all ambiguous behavior is interpreted negatively. And I got, fuck, is that brilliant or what? So, like, just put this in everyday context. Let's say something goes wrong with your car and you take your car into the shop and they say, hey, we're going to call you by noon tomorrow. And you don't get a call, it's 2 o'clock the next day. Instantly in your mind, you think, oh, they haven't looked at my car. It's really bad. And they don't want to call me with the number. Something's really bad, et cetera, et cetera. You have no clue what's going. Maybe the mechanic was sick. Maybe they've already fixed it and someone just forgot to call and tell you it costs $75. You got to come pick it up. But
Yeah,
you
nobody.
immediately jump to worst case scenario. And that's where so many people, in my opinion, go wrong in communication. And that's why uh, it's interesting to me that I'm so well received because I'm so direct. Um, and you would think it'd be the opposite, but people don't have to guess where they stand with me, and they actually appreciate that most of the time. It's my youngest son was a hockey guy, and hockey gear. It's like baseball. Back in your world, it was probably the DeMarini bats. When I was a kid, it was Easton. Like when you were a kid, it was Easton, right?
The Black Magic, man.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Black Magic. So, this kid on my kid's hockey team shows up, and my son on this team happened to be the best player. He wasn't on every team he played on, but on this one he was. And I had gotten him a Coho wooden stick, and it was a $25 stick, and he was leading the team in goals and assists. And this kid's dad shows up. He was playing in kind of a ritzy area, and this dad shows up with like a Vapor 40 stick. It's like a $240 stick for an 11-year-old kid. And he's showing it to the coach, and I'm listening. I can't take it. I'm listening to this guy talk. And I've achieved a lot from an athletic perspective, and his kid's out there because he wants his kid out there. His kid don't want to be out there. And I said, you'd have been better off spending that money on some lessons. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, your kid doesn't know how to shoot. Like, do you even understand the physics behind the stick? There's a flex point on that stick. You have to weigh at least 90 pounds to utilize the flex point. Your kid weighs 80 pounds and he can't drive his stick into the ice. That's firewood. You bought your kid $240 worth of firewood. I thought the coach was going to wet his pants. And I said, my kid's got a $25 stick and he's leading the team in goals and assists because he knows how to shoot the puck. Spend time with your kid out in the driveway teaching him how to shoot the puck. If you want him to
Yeah.
get better, don't buy him a $240 stick. And his coach said, man, I was so glad you were there. I didn't know how to react to him. I'm like, dude, his kid's not good. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to be out here. He's paying you to babysit his kid for about 10 hours a week. That's what he's doing. And it
Trying to
sucks for you.
throw money
Yeah,
at it.
exactly. Exactly. So yeah, the communication part, I just couldn't agree with you more. I think it's so important. If you're going to be successful in the world, you have to be a good communicator. You have to be a good communicator verbally. You have to be a good communicator in the written form, and you have to be able to have conversations face to face with people if you're going to get anywhere.
Marketing, business growth is a contact sport. If you don't make contact, you ain't making no money. It's amazing how many people think that just they think their little business or their solopreneurship is like Field of Dreams. Just because they
Yeah.
built it don't mean nobody's gonna come. You got to do something with it, man. And that I deal a lot with that too. They're like, I'm so good at my whatever, at my acting ability or at my design ability. I should be getting business because of that. Nobody cares. How many people have you reached out to today? I get a pause. Oh, so that wasn't important to you to go reach out to 5 or 10 people each day, every day for 25 days in a row. That's how you sell your business. They're like, well, why? I don't understand. I had this training. I worked with this coach. I have this portfolio. The work, should be it should be raining business. That's just not how it happens. And we deal a lot with that. And getting that, and that goes right into the fear and the procrastination and all that stuff too. Just they don't have the right expectations.
Yeah. Learn to appreciate the word no because you're going to get told no a lot.
Believe me, I've heard it more than I care, but I have
Totally.
enough yeses that I'm still around. So I must have been doing
Yeah.
something.
It's a numbers game, man. It's just a numbers game. So yeah, look, Corey, one of the things I do, I ask a lot of questions. We cover a lot of territory. We have great conversations, but I never want to miss anything just because I didn't ask a good question or I missed a topic. So I always open it up towards the end of the program. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you think is important for us to talk about? Or is there any topic that we haven't talked about yet that's important to you that you want to talk about while we're in front of the audience?
Man, I mean, that's very generous for you to offer. I mean, good Lord, we've really covered a lot of ground. I mean, for sure. My thought is if you haven't gotten a flavor for my uh, brand yet, you weren't listening to the whole show because we touched a lot of different things and they all sort of connect from, taking action and masculinity and improved communication and sweat equity and hard work. I mean, these are the things that we're jam packing into an hour or two here on your show, but it's not just a fun conversation. It's a
That's
way
right.
of life. It's, this is what I'm talking about. I don't have any cue cards today. There's no script. I didn't know what you were going to ask me. And there's a reason why we were able to talk so fluently, such in granular detail about all of these different subjects because we have lived it and we live it. And that's the moral of the story. Why you said, why would you pay for a coach? Because they lived it and they live it. They have seen the movie before. They have done what you only wish to do. And that's what I try to communicate. You wish for it, I did it. And I'm happy to show you how. You just got to open up your ears a little bit and everything going to be just fine.
I call it the compound interest of life because most people understand the compound interest as it relates to money, but the little things that you do every day are what accumulate and build the life that you're headed towards. So if you make poor decisions for your health, poor decisions for your business, poor decisions for your relationship, little bits at a time, you're building up kind of negative energy and negative compounding towards those things. If you do the good stuff, it compounds over time and it takes that hockey stick curve because all of a sudden you look up and, like you talked about a little bit ago, I come from humble beginnings. I look around and think, fuck, what a great life I've got. But it took 30 plus years of work to get there,
Exactly.
right? It's that compound interest of life built up. And now you look around and go, son of a bitch, this ain't so bad.
Yeah, how about it? I mean, geez, all them late nights, I guess, were worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the book, Going the Distance, the
Yes, sir.
coaching business, the marketing business, all of those links are going to be available in the show notes. So you won't have to go very far to find Corey and his team. If you're
Sweet.
interested in those things, they're right down there in the show notes. And Corey, really appreciate you coming on. Best of luck. I know your son just got done with his season, and hopefully, uh, all of the transactions that happen over the hot stove season are kind to him, and he winds up in a good spot next year. And I know you're going to be fine because you've been through the fire already, and you're working in a different world than he's working in. For those that don't know, Corey's son's a professional baseball player, and he's working his way through the minor leagues. He's a catcher in the Phillies organization as of the taping of this program. So
Yeah. And
good
hopefully
luck to
he
him.
will be by the time it airs.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's a tough world to
but you never
exist in.
know. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on and being so generous with your time. I mean, I kind of feel like if someone drew a family tree, somehow you and me are going to cross somewhere along the line. I don't know how. I didn't have red hair, but we somehow we're connected. We just where there's a simpatico there that there's a reason why we were able to have such a robust conversation, and I appreciate it, man. It was fun.
Yeah, had a great time. Really appreciate you spending the time with us and giving us your time as well. So take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
All right. Thanks, Corey. Great work, man. That was
Fun.
awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
loved it.
A lot of
Absolutely
good
loved it.
stuff you can use there, I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. We'll just run it back. We run the whole thing. That's what we do.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
One thing I'd like to do is I'd like to get a little screenshot of us today. I want to give you some props online, if you don't mind.
No, let's do it. Sure.
And so we'll have some fun and we'll kind of give the one of these here. I'll take a screenshot.
Let
Stand by.
me adjust my camera to make sure you can get it.
Yeah, they get that. And I got salty ginger in the background. That's good too. So let's see. Here we go. I'll take a few of them here. I'm just got to make sure to look in my camera and not at you. Stand by. And take one more. I'm sure one of those is great. I'm going to totally put up a post and give you a shout out and tag you and all that stuff. And yeah, man, that was fun, dude. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's refreshing and reassuring to know that there are like-minded individuals out in the universe.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I loved it too because we have so many different kinds of people. There's a lot of people that are like kind of natural healers, and we love exposing our audience to all of that because maybe my method doesn't work for you or doesn't resonate with you. I don't care what method resonates with you. Whatever gets you off the dime and gets you moving, that's all I'm trying to do. Expose you to whatever gets you moving towards a down a path that's good for you. I think our method's great. It's worked for me really well. And it's worked for a lot of people I know really
There you
well.
go.
So you can fight it all you want. But I think at the end of the day, doers are the ones that succeed in life, and the people that won't do stuff don't get as far. It's just that simple. So it's up to you. You get to
Mad
choose.
respect for you, sir. Mad respect for what you're doing.
Well, appreciate you coming on, man.
All right, dude. I'll be looking out for my post, and I'll look out for when the episode drops soon.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Corey. Thanks so much.
Sure, dude. See you,
All
man.
right. See ya. All right, guys, there you go. So, yeah, look, Corey is our kind of guy. Real straightforward. Go get him. Not going to make a lot of excuses. Not going to accept a lot of excuses. Is going to challenge himself like he's going to challenge you as a coach to go after the things in life that you want. And if you say you want things in life, you should act the way you say you want things in life. And really appreciated him spending some time with us. We've got the link to his book in the show notes. We've got the link to his coaching business in the show notes. So if you want to reach out to Corey or buy his book, very easy to do. Just head down to the show notes. We got links. It'll take you right there so you can do those things. And we really appreciate Corey spending some time with us tonight on the podcast. So James puts it up right over there every day. Head over to our website, saltygingertalk.com. We've got all our podcast episodes there. We've got links to all our social media accounts there. We've also published a newsletter every weekday you can subscribe to there. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to our podcast, whatever platform you consume it on. We're going to keep having great guests like Corey on that are going to give you great tips and ideas and motivation to build the life that you want and pursue the things that are important to you. You don't want to miss all those great examples and miss all that great experience being shared with you. So make sure you catch our next episode. We'll see you there.